Toyota calls this the king of SUVs, and I won't disagree. Because the Land Cruiser is a legendary SUV, with its roots dating back all the way to the 1950s, being the third SUV in the world after the Jeep Willys and Land Rover Series 1. Hence, it is Toyota's longest running nameplate. Launched at a time when no German luxury car company had even imagined an SUV body style. For reference, Mercedes' first SUV, the ML, came in 1997. Okay, the G-Wagon came in 1979. BMW's first SUV, the X5, came in 1999. Audi's first SUV, the Q7, came in 2005, while the Range Rover was launched in 1970. Fast forward to 2025 and we have got the second batch of the LC300, which has got some minor changes, and this time we have got the GR Sport 2. So, what makes the Land Cruiser so popular? Well, to start with, this looks like the Fortuner's grandfather, because it is. Thanks to its almost 5 meter length and 2.9 meter wheelbase and a massive ground clearance of 230 mm, the roof rails are also functional here. The Land Cruiser looks amazing, with its size giving it a lot of road presence, and Toyota has overused chrome here, which is splashed on the rear view mirrors, door handles, 20-inch alloy wheels, window surrounds and around the fog lamp housing. But who are we kidding? The LC200 is still the best looking Land Cruiser ever, because while the LC300 has a bold front end, the rear design is a bit too plain. Step inside and that plain feeling can be felt for the interior too, and that's the reason why I would recommend you get one of these. This is the Involved Batmobile car perfume, and it is just damn freaking awesome. Here's why. Just stick it on the dashboard and whenever the car moves, it drifts. It looks so freaking damn cool. Installation is very easy. Just remove this tray and put this cube inside. It smells so musky, dark and manly. I love the smell, and you can get yours with a 10% discount using coupon code FASTBEAM. Click somewhere on the top right corner of the screen right now. Coming back to the Land Cruiser, the interiors can be had in two colors, beige or black, and the same goes for the GR Sport as well. You get a red or a black interior. But for a car of this price, it's too simple. And for a car of this size, just being a 5-seater is a bit ridiculous. Globally, this car is available with 7 seats. In fact, this car is made as a 7-seater, and thus the second row seats tumble for easy access into the third row, which doesn't exist here. There are AC vents and cup holders in the third row too, which again does not exist here. But because of no third row, the boot is massive at 1131 liters. And you can fold the second row seats in 40-20-40 format to boost luggage carrying capacity even further. The door pockets aren't big enough to fit a 1-liter bottle, but the glove box is huge and lockable. There's storage below the front center armrest, which is also cooled and also opens from both the sides. It also has a sliding tray inside. There are 2 cup holders in the center console and in the rear center armrest. There's also a card holder and aircraft style magazine pockets. But it lacks features expected at this price, like matrix LED headlights, welcome and goodbye animations on the lights, auto park assist, rear window sunblinds, boss mode, ambient lighting, split tailgate like the LC200, and a panoramic sunroof, as this gets a single pane sunroof with a manual blind, which is quite flimsy. Even the key is quite basic for a Land Cruiser. The horn also feels out of place, doesn't suit a Land Cruiser. Fine for Maruti cars with Toyota logos. Ouch! Shots fired. You bet. Thankfully, the seats are big and comfy with soft cushioning, and you sit so high up that you do feel like the king of the road. Toyota has now given the Land Cruiser a fully digital instrument cluster that has a comprehensive multi-information display on all the 3 areas of the screen. There are multiple cluster views too. But call me old school because I like the old analog cluster better. They've also removed the CD player where there's a storage bin now, and there are a lot of dummy buttons in this car. Thankfully, there are a lot of physical buttons and premium quality switches, and Toyota hasn't succumbed to the useless touch trend. There are plenty of USB-C and USB-A charging ports along with HDMI ports and a power socket in the boot to power up a portable fridge. After all, this car is made for the desert and dune bashing. Some noteworthy features include headlight washers, automatic headlights, sequential turn indicators, puddle lamps, heated mirrors with anti-glare coating, automatic wipers, laminated acoustic glass with heat shield, illuminated side steps, 8-way powered driver's seat with 3 memory functions and welcome and goodbye movement, powered steering adjustment, 4-zone climate control air conditioning, seat heating and ventilation for both front and rear seats, JBL sound system which has average audio quality, voice commands that aren't accurate, navigate me to Lexus showroom.
I found more than one matching POI.
Bro, I need a car. I don't need jeans.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
12.3-inch infotainment screen with the UI from the 90s. It's so slow that it takes ages to load on startup. Would you even turn on today? Slow. Connected car tech, 360-degree parking camera with transparent views that change as per the steering angle. You can actually change the color of the car here. Customization nobody asked for. Head-up display, extendable sun visor with mirror and light, sunglass holder, height adjustable front seat belts, steering mounted buttons, wireless phone charger, tire pressure monitoring system, 11.6-inch rear seat entertainment screens, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, electric parking brake, auto hold, ADAS with blind spot monitor, full-size spare wheel with alloy and a power tailgate with a kick sensor. You know what's funny? Even though this is one of the worst infotainment systems I have ever seen, the multimedia owner's manual is more than 350 pages. Yes, I don't know what features it explains, but this infotainment has no features as such. Meanwhile, the owner's manual is actually more than 840 pages, even though this car is lacking a lot of features. So that just doesn't make sense at all. And they call it the Land Cruiser station wagon. But there is a problem. Being a 5-seater doesn't mean that this Land Cruiser is a great chauffeur-driven car, as space in the second row is quite less for a car of this size, and there are multiple reasons for the same. Firstly, you have to climb in because the car is tall, but there are side footsteps and grab handles to aid you. Secondly, Toyota has pushed the front seats a bit further back for better crash protection. The second row seats are quite low, so under-thigh support is poor. The rear entertainment screens bulge out, further making it feel less spacious, and the seat doesn't slide either. It's fixed. Thus, legroom and kneeroom is quite poor for a car of this size, but headroom and shoulder room is quite impressive, and there are 4 AC vents in the second row. Center passenger gets a headrest, but the hump on the floor makes it uncomfortable for him. I know most owners sit here as the driver pilots the car and bouncers sit behind. Why do they need space? But a Land Cruiser has never been about features. It's all about the driving experience. So let's start driving right away. Driving an LC is the most exciting part ever. Let me just hydrate a bit. Let's turn on the vehicle. Lot of traffic today. I don't know why and how. And straight away, let's turn off the air conditioning. This screen takes 3 years to load. It's very slow. And I think we'll be off before the screen starts. So straight away, I'm going to come into Sport Plus drive mode. And I'm going to go into drive for the gearbox. I'm going to keep this button pressed. First, it turns off traction control, and if I keep it pressed, it's going to turn off VSC, which is Vehicle Stability Control. VSC, yeah, whatever. Come on. What are you waiting for? Finally, VSC turned off. Pre-collision brake system unavailable, and here I'm actually going to come into the off-road information, which is the coolest bit here. I come into reverse, immediately the mirror turns and shows me what's below so that I don't hit a curb. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. You can see this. Traction control off, hazard lights off, and off we go. I have to admit, there's a different feeling of driving a Land Cruiser because it's just so freaking unbelievable. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 8 seconds, which is also Toyota's claim, but then I don't think this car is as fast as it is right now because we were going down a slope. So yeah, that was not accurate. Anyways, what I love about the Land Cruiser is the driving feel. You sit so high above, you feel like the king of the road. Every other car looks chintu mintu because you're seated so high, you can see the full bonnet of the car. Plus, there are the bulges on the bonnet, which obviously looks damn freaking cool. So yeah, the driving feel, the driving position is one of the major reasons why you would want to buy a Land Cruiser. But people who buy this car don't even drive, so I don't even know why they buy this car. And this car is about off-road ability. But again, people who buy this car in India don't really go off-road. This car is very famous in the Middle East, where people actually take it off-road because people love to go dune bashing. You'll never see a German luxury SUV there. You will always see a Land Cruiser or a petrol, because these cars will obviously, I mean, all the cars will go, but the Land Cruiser will also come back. That's a very popular thing. So in terms of the performance, well, it is subject to downsizing. Earlier we had the 4.5 litre V8 diesel engine. Now we have a 3.3 litre diesel engine. There are twin turbos, two turbochargers, one for low speeds, a smaller turbo, and another one for higher speeds, higher engine speeds, which is a bigger turbo. The result is turbo lag is very well contained, but the engine is loud and noisy, and you can hear a lot of grumpiness from the engine. In fact, it is always like goom, goom, goom. Yeah, it revs a bit too much, but that is the feel. If I have to summarize this car in like a sentence, I would just say that this is like a bigger Toyota Fortuner because it drives very similar to the Fortuner, but I love the engine. It is loud, yes. It's not very refined, no problem, but it has the driving feel. And because this one has a ladder frame, it just feels so damn good, amazing to drive, because obviously there's this lumpiness. So there's this continuous movement. You feel that you're driving something really engaging and fun because you're just juluing all over the place. But still, in spite of being a ladder frame, the ride quality is actually very impressive. Obviously, there's the lumpiness which you expect from a ladder frame, but overall feel amazing. Alright, because it feels indestructible. This is a car which is known to outlast its owner. That's how freaking damn reliable and durable a Land Cruiser is. And in terms of performance, you're not going to complain at all. I know it's not as fast as a monocoque luxury SUV, but who cares? Because here you are feeling every bit of the drive experience in a positive way, and I love it. Okay, the wipers are really nice at the front, but the problem is at the rear, the spray just doesn't hit the wiper area. It could be better done for sure. Anyways, the car's mats are very slippery because these are from the Innova. No, not for the Land Cruiser, because the Land Cruiser is such a small seller that no one's going to make specific mats for the Land Cruiser, so people have to make do with the Innova's mats. Now, in terms of performance, well, why is this car so good and impressive is because there's a lot of power here. 309 horsepower and 700 Newton meters of torque. So good low end grunt, good mid range as well. Top end isn't that great, but who really cares? Because before you think, the car will obviously upshift. There are no paddle shifters here. It's a 10-speed automatic gearbox, which is a torque converter. And because it's 10-speed, it has closely stacked ratios, which means only one thing, that the engine is always at lower RPMs, no matter what the speed is. Unless and until obviously you are at full throttle, the engine is just taking it easy, and that also helps in fuel efficiency, which will be in single digits, around 8 to 9 kilometers per liter, because of the weight of this car, which is 2,400 freaking kgs. Yeah, this is heavy because it's a ladder frame, obviously, but somehow you don't feel the weight at all. Now I can come into manual mode, and when I do that, guess what? It holds on to a gear. That's right, it will not upshift unless and until I decide to do so. There, red line comes in at almost 5,000 RPM, so 4,800 RPM is the red line of the vehicle. The gearbox is very slow with shifts. It's very easy going. It's like आराम से चलूँगा, no problem, no hurry, no urgency. There is just like the ease, because this is a Land Cruiser. It is not about performance, it's about off-road performance and ruggedness and obviously durability. Around the corners, you do feel a lot of body roll. Yes, there's a lot of mass. So the car swings like this. In fact, under braking also it swings. Under acceleration, it lifts up from the front. It does all that and more because of the hefty weight and the high suspension travel. Now it has got adaptive dampers. Can you hear the tires screech? Yes, the tires do screech. It has got adaptive dampers, which definitely helps this car in terms of improving the overall ride. And the ride is very impressive for something which is a body-on-frame SUV. And I'll not really complain about the ride quality of this car. Yes, that lumpiness is there at lower speeds because of the ladder frames. Inherent issue of the frame being different and the body being different. So both oscillating or moving at different speeds, which results in that movement. But that's fine. That's kind of the feel of the vehicle. And in terms of top speed, well, it will easily hit 190 kilometers per hour, but above 140 kilometers per hour, it doesn't seem to be stable at all, and it doesn't need to be, because this is not a car which is about high speed. It's about the feel, and in terms of feel, it's unfreaking beatable. By the way, there is also a GR Sport variant which is 5mm shorter and has some changes to the bumpers and all, and it has recovery hooks and all those things for better approach, departure and breakover angles. But the most important part about that car is that it has got 3 locking differentials. So this one has a center lock, that one has a front and rear lock as well, making it much more capable off-road. In fact, they have strengthened the chassis a lot to make sure that it's able to survive even more rugged off-roading. And beyond that, they have also increased the suspension travel, which is such a good thing. And look, I'm going to make a quick U-turn. Tires screeching. Yes, the tires do screech under full throttle, and the turning radius is a lot, because this car unfortunately just does not get rear wheel steering. The brake test, the brakes not that great because of the heavy weight, and off we go. Yeah, the heavy weight obviously results in the nosedive under heavy braking, and the tires screech a bit as well. But for the kind of mass and size of the car, well, I would say the brakes are very impressive. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.88 seconds. Not bad at all. It's actually very impressive how fast this car is, in spite of the fact that it weighs a lot. It's all about the torque, the grunt which comes because of the way this car is able to put all that torque down. And like I was talking about the GR Sport, well, it has more suspension travel and the most articulation of any Land Cruiser ever. Yeah, crazy articulation in that car. If you want to obviously go off-road, GR Sport is a car you would definitely consider, even over, say, the Mercedes G-Wagon. That's how freaking damn awesome it is. The steering is actually heavy. Why is it heavy? Because this is a hydraulic steering, and without rear wheel steering, turning radius is an absolute pain. So driving this car in tight confines means that you really have to put in a lot of muscle to turn the car from one area to another, and that's a bit of an issue. See, I can see the roof of that Nexon right ahead. That's the kind of size this car has. Yeah, this is an absolute brute of a car. Huge in terms of size. What driving feel. I have never ever driven a car which has this level of driving feel. It feels surreal to drive this car. Absolutely amazing. Now in terms of drive modes, there are a lot. There are 6 freaking drive modes. So there is Eco, there is Comfort, there is Normal, Sport and Sport Plus, and there's also Custom drive mode. So basically it makes changes to the engine, the suspension because of the adaptive dampers, variable adaptive dampers, and it also makes changes to the steering, I believe. However, if I press this multi-terrain select, I have 5 different modes to select from, which is auto, dirt, sand, mud and deep snow. So those are the off-road modes, and then it has got downhill control, crawl mode and a lot of things. So it has got a center diff lock, okay, it has got electronic differential lock, it has got a trail turn assist. So when you're in crawl mode, if you press this, it will lock the inside wheel to virtually, drag one of the wheels, the inside wheel, rear wheel, so that this car's turning radius reduces. So making quick turns is very much possible, but only use it off-road, not on tarmac. And this is all-wheel drive. It's a full-time all-wheel drive system. That's the reason right now I'm in 4 high. I can come into 4 low. That's about it. I cannot be in 2-wheel drive mode because this car is not 2-wheel drive in any way. It's always channeling power to the rear wheels, channeling more power to the front axle when it needs it. And in that sense, it's absolutely surreal to drive, because in spite of traction control being off, in spite of the weight, in spite of the size, in spite of the torque, it never loses grip. It's just so damn glued to the road. It's absolutely phenomenal to drive. And because of the hydraulic steering, the weight of the steering really makes you feels so damn freaking awesome about the way this car drives. It drives with an assurance, with a how do I call it? I'm not able to find a word because I'm not used such a word for any car ever. That's how freaking awesome the Toyota Land Cruiser is, the LC300. Of course, the LC200 looked cooler and it wasn't as refined. However, this car has lost 200 kgs. So what they have done is they made the frame stronger, lighter and all, and that definitely helps in improving the on-road dynamics of this car, which are way better when compared to before. And every time I get on the throttle, it does not hesitate to rev and push ahead. In fact, because it's a ladder frame SUV, you would say that, okay, ride is not there. I mean, it's not as comfortable as a monocoque luxury SUV and all those things. That's completely fine. But some people dig this. Some people want this lumpiness. Some people want this goong goong goo sound. Like when you rev it, it surges ahead. It makes a lot of sound. There is no smoothness to the engine or the powertrain. And those are the people who buy the Fortuner. And I'm also one of those people who love this kind of driving feel, because it feels like a nice, real, raw car. Unlike the dime a dozen softies which are coming today, this is actually the world's best SUV, because super reliable, very durable, and drives with the authority which no car can match. Yeah, that's why I absolutely love it. If you want to go fast over bad bumps, be my guest, because there is nothing which phases this Land Cruiser. It's unbelievable. By the way, the Prado is known as the Land Cruiser in the US. Unfortunately, that is an absolute wrong way of marketing the Prado, because the Prado is a Prado. It's not a Land Cruiser. It's a fake Land Cruiser. I don't call the Prado a Land Cruiser at all. For me, a Land Cruiser has to be the LC300. This is the real deal. If you want a Land Cruiser, get the real deal. Don't look at the Prado. But Americans do not get it, because the Americans did not buy the LC200, which was codenamed J200. This is codenamed J300 because this is the LC300. And that's the reason Toyota discontinued the LC200 and did not bring the LC300 to the US and Canadian markets, because their top end model, the flagship SUV, is actually the Sequoia, similar sized car, and that's why they get the Prado as the Land Cruiser now, which honestly makes no sense to me. I mean, that's not a real Land Cruiser, no matter what people say. I don't know why this does not get the camera mirror here, which the Prado gets. So yeah, the Prado, being a fresher model, gets certain things which this one does not get. That said, they kept the LC200 for sale for 14 years. It was that freaking popular. Quite amazing. Now, in terms of the engines in the Middle East, obviously petrol power is what drives the Land Cruiser, because diesel is not popular there. There they actually have a 4-liter petrol naturally aspirated engine, which, FYI, also powers the Fortuner, the higher end variant of the Fortuner. And then there's a 3.4-liter twin turbo engine as well, which obviously replaces the V8. Unfortunately, downsizing is a problem these days. And that engine is also quite fantastic, because it also comes with a hybrid. Yes, 3.4-liter twin turbo, non-hybrid, and there's a hybrid. The hybrid produces 457 horsepower. That is the most powerful version of the Land Cruiser. 457 horsepower, lugging around 2,400 kgs of weight. The math simply does not match there, but it's just unbelievable. But why don't they give paddle shifters? I'm so like, I want to make my own shifts. No. Car is like, that's not possible for you today. Let the car do the shifts. Obviously, I can do it like this, but then what is the point? And if you notice, that car is drifting every time I turn, which is quite cool actually. And now it started to rain, which is good, because this car can water wade through a lot of water. It's underpinned by the TNGA F platform. By the way, it has got torque sensing LSD, which is limited slip differential. So Toyota's given it a lot of technology to make off-roading that much more easier. And I love the fact that the engine is so damn noisy, because that's the whole essence of a car, right? Not being like one of those right ahead, which is super silent, and having quad wheel drive, which I mean works in that particular segment. But Toyota really understands how a car should be. Physical buttons, raw, unadulterated, loud, and diesel, of course. And now it obviously wants to put me back into a lane, because it has got all those ADAS features as well, which work quite well. But who needs ADAS in a Land Cruiser? But Toyota's like, we'll give you everything. Yeah, what a fantastic car. This is how a car should be. But unfortunately, at the price, I mean, I don't know why we don't get what we deserve, which is a proper upgrade to the Fortuner without costing 5x as much as a Fortuner. Well, the Land Cruiser is way too expensive. It costs rupees 70 lakhs in the UAE and rupees 2.7 crores here. Even after factoring in all the taxes for a CBU, the math simply does not add up here. By the way, rupees 31 lakhs goes for the registration of this car and rupees 16 lakhs for the first year insurance. And that is for this variant, the ZX. Pay rupees 7 lakhs more and get the GR Sport, a cooler looking car which is more capable too. Toyota has intentionally overpriced this car because they know they can. And no, I didn't say Toyota by mistake. You know what I mean here. Ethanol. Actually, demand beats supply here because very few units have been allocated to India, which means Toyota can charge whatever they want, and that's exactly what they're doing here. Well, the Land Cruiser is a proven and reliable car, and with limited availability has great resale too. And being a Toyota, there's obviously the ease of maintenance, but don't expect spare parts to be available off the counter because of the limited units which have been allotted to India. It's not a fast moving vehicle like say the Innova or the Fortuner. The Land Cruiser actually makes the BMW X7 and the Mercedes GLS appear value for money in comparison. Those cars cost rupees 1.6 crores each. But if you have that kind of money, you are better off buying the Lexus LX 500D, which is priced between rupees 3.18 to 3.51 crores. Because paying this much money for a Toyota just doesn't make sense. Please don't get me wrong, I love the Land Cruiser. It's my absolute favorite SUV. But at this price, it makes zero sense, unless you have black money, of course. You know where I'm going with this. Anyways, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's a like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.